Hello, this is Min Chanjong, and in this video, I will talk about the public baths in Korea. Can you guess where this is? This is the apartment where I live. The reason why I show this is to share my personal experience. When I grow up, there is a place like this, and there used to be a bathhouse here for a long time. So I used to often go to the bathhouse with my elementary school friends or my dad, and after coming out, we would drink some banana milk. But at some point, the bathhouse here disappeared, and now only the swimming pool and gym remained. I thought this was only a story of my neighborhood, but that was not necessarily the case. In this video, I want to talk about what the Korean public bathhouse really was. Not just as a place to get clean, but as a social space, a community hub, and a piece of Korean identity that is quietly disappearing. To understand why the mogyoktang mattered so much, you have to go back to after the Korean War. Seoul and other major cities were filling up fast. People were moving from the countryside looking for work and a better life. The housing that was quickly built for all those people were very basic. Most homes had a toilet, but not a proper bathroom with hot water. So people went to the public bathhouse to wash. A modern public bathhouse first opened in Seoul in 1925. But people were not used to the idea of bathing naked in front of strangers. So it took time for the culture to take hold. It was really in 1960s and 70s that mogyoktang culture spread across the country. It grew alongside Korea's cities and supported by government push for public health and hygiene. Around the same time, something very specific to Korea was invented. It is called the Italy towel. In 1967, the textile factory in Busan made a rough, meat-like cloth using rayon thread that was imported from Italy. It was originally meant for making clothes, but the fabric was too scratchy for that. So instead, it became the perfect tool for scrubbing dead skin off your body. The Italy towel might seem like a small thing, but it became the symbol of Korean bath culture. The act of scrubbing your skin became a full ritual. You did not just wash, you scrubbed, rinsed, and relaxed. And you often did it with someone else like a parent, a friend, a neighbor, scrubbing each other's backs. In Korean culture, helping someone wash their back is actually an expression of closeness and trust. By the 1970s, going to the bathhouse once a week had become a normal part of life for most working-class Korean families. It was the place where neighbors caught up on gossip, where fathers took their sons for real conservation, where grandmothers held court in the changing room. It actually had more meaning as connection than hygiene. By the year 2003, Korea had nearly 10,000 public bathhouses. That is a remarkable number. At the time, Korea's population was about 48 million people. That means that there were roughly one bathhouse for every 4,800 people. In almost every neighborhood, on almost every main street, you could find one. Running a bathhouse was serious business. Owners were well respected in their communities and were seen as important figures in the neighborhood. The culture inside was also unique. Men and women bathed in separate sections, but within each section there were no barriers, no curtains, and no privacy. You were simply together. The others were strangers but comfortable. For many Koreans, the bathhouse was the most relaxed space in their neighborhood. It was a gathering place for working-class communities, where people of similar backgrounds shared the same warm water and same conservations. Everyone inside was equal in that moment. But starting in early 2000s, something changed. The numbers tell the story clearly. In 2004, just 1 year after the peak, more bathhouses closed than opened for the first time in the history. And that trend has never reversed. By 2008, the number had fallen below 9,000. By 2013, below 8,000. By 2018, below 7,000. And by 2022, only 6,012 remained. That is a loss of nearly 4,000 bathhouses in just 20 years. In Seoul alone, out of every bathhouse that ever received a business license, only about 18 are still operating. Over 80 have closed. There are a few reasons for this decline. The first and most obvious one is that people got their own bathrooms. As apartment buildings spread across the Korea through the 80s and 90s, more and more homes had their own bathrooms with hot water. The need to go outside to wash simply went away. There was also the cultural shift. Koreans slowly moved away from long, relaxing baths in a shared tub and toward quick, private showers at home. The idea of spending 2 hours in the communal space started to feel like too much effort. And then came the jjimjilbang. For those who are not familiar with it, a jjimjilbang is similar to a bathhouse, but much bigger and with a lot more to do. The first one opened in Busan in 1993, and by 2004 there were already 1,600 across the country. Unlike the traditional mogyoktang, which was gender separated and focused purely on bathing, the jjimjilbang had a mixed gender common area where you wore shorts and t-shirts provided by the facility. There were themed sauna rooms such as yellow clay rooms, salt rooms, and ice rooms, plus restaurants, sleeping areas, and sometimes even a movie screen. Families could spend a whole day there. Couples went on a date there. People even slept overnight when they missed the last train. The jjimjilbang was more entertaining and more modern. For the traditional neighborhood bathhouse, it was very difficult to compete. But here is the important point. The jjimjilbang did not save Korean bath culture. It only delayed the same problem. After 2010, jjimjilbangs also began to decline, for the same reasons. Private bathrooms got better. People valued their privacy more. And then in 2020, COVID-19 arrived. In just 3 years, more than 10,000 additional bathhouses closed. Rising energy costs made things even harder, because heating a large bathhouses use a lot of energy. For many small order bathhouses and jjimjilbangs, survival became nearly impossible. What we are seeing now is not a shift from one type of bath culture to another. It is the slow disappearance of communal bathing as a whole. So what has replaced mogyoktang? On one end, private session shops have grown quickly. They are small studios where you book a room alone and receive a full body scrub in complete privacy. On the other hand, large premium spas are surviving, partly driven by foreign tourists who discover jjimjilbang culture through K-drama and K-pop. What disappeared in between is the small neighborhood bathhouse, the one that was 5 minutes from our door and was full of people who actually lived near us. For many elderly and low-income residents, it functioned as a part of everyday life rather than a luxury service. The facilities that replaced it operate differently. Private scrub shops usually require reservations, and premium spas are significantly more expensive. Although these newer options may offer improved services, they are generally aimed at customers with greater financial and time flexibility. Neighborhood bathhouses had lower barriers to access. Some welfare experts in Korea have argued that the government should support the remaining bathhouses as a form of public infrastructure similar to libraries or community centers. rather than treating them solely as private business. And that is what makes this disappearance worth noticing.